All right, everybody, here we are with another hour with Liam, and we've got the guys from I'll call them the Trust guys. They're on here with us again today. We got Scott, and do you go by Scott or do you go the whole thing? Scott.
Scott Garcia.
Scott Garcia. There we go. We got Don Runge. He is the brains of the outfit, he would say. And of course, we got Nick down there, who's already been to the meetings. And what we're going to do today is kind of share with you what's coming up in the future. But we're also going to get into kind of like day two, like they do, on getting. I know when you do the seminar the first night, the next class, you guys kind of go over what they did and what went right. And then you go and do another seminar that evening, give them two good looks at how this works. And we talked about doing concierge service in the last meeting. We talked about maybe doing a estate planning for your a book of business, maybe your client base, things like that. But Don, here's the question we're going to get. And it never fails, right? Because we've all been doing this. I've been doing this for 35 years, and it never fails. No matter how great the idea is, they always want to know, how do we get paid? What's it going to cost? What is it in it for me? How do we? And that's okay. We don't do this so we can't eat. We do it so we can eat. But if they learn what I learned a long time ago, the people come first, right? The clients. If you learn that the other stuff will come, make sure that's your first objective. Take care of your people. And I know that's why you guys have a certain system, and it goes by the way it goes. There's no changing it, no tweaking it. It's the way it is. So Don, we're going to let you go. You're going to be the first one out in the water today. Tell us a little bit about how the trust works, how they end up. I don't know if there's compensation involved. You let us know.
All right, Lynn, thank you. And Nick, I appreciate it, and get a chance to talk to your constituents and people that are on your program. Real simple. If we take a look in the insurance business, the biggest problem people want to talk about, or the biggest problem that they have, money is all dictated by the number of people you can meet with and sit down and talk about the business. It's how many sit downs can you have in a week? How many people also are qualified in the sit down? So you can be sitting down with the wrong people without money, without a need, without time, and spend hours and hours and hours on the telephone, door knocking, and the internet, and take hundreds of hours just to find 10 people a week, just to find 15 people a week. With our system, you don't prospect. So if you like the prospect, you shouldn't work with us. We don't prospect. People come to us. We drive the people, by the way, not just anybody, people who are worth $400,000 of assets or greater between the ages of 59, 70, 75 in that neck of the woods. I've never seen anybody can drive that many people, 70 to 100, to a location without buying them a lunch or a dinner, and in an hour and 5 minutes, convert 65 to 75% of those people on the spot to book appointments. In other words, we take an hour and 15 minutes to see if you can close somebody to give me an appointment. Now, usually if you're making your other phone calls, you got about 45 seconds. We got an hour and 15 minutes to convince you in front of you that since you came to see if you wanted to have an appointment, we book them. So we're booking appointments. That's the first secret to anything. So all the other nonsense can be put aside. It doesn't make any difference how much commission you make, because zero if you don't have anybody to talk to. That's a zero commission. So whatever you make in commissions, we don't touch that. Whatever contracts you have, we don't touch that. We're not in the insurance business. You're in the insurance business. If you can sell, then you ought to do well with it. If you can't sell, you won't do well with this, by the way. So it's not.
Tom, what you're saying is you don't handle the funding side of it. That's on the agent.
The company handles the funding side. It's a 5-step process, which Scott will talk through and walk through for you. Your problem is to warm the lead up once we get them to you. You warm them up, and we put them into the pot. The pot boils. When they come out of there's a finished product. You now have an entree. And it's your business how you eat that entree, whether you start with a salad first or the salad last. But it's in your bucket to sell the insurance and fill the gaps. And you're now going from an agent to an advisor. You will never have a problem again if you work this right, because it's the first time you're going to know all their assets, everything. And when you sell final expense, annuities or anything, you don't know all their assets. You're just back in there and hoping you can sell somebody. Maybe they got a CD. This uncovers everything. Now there's a trust factor. Yeah, we're in the trust business, and people trust us. And once they trust you, they open Pandora's box. You see everything they've got. I've never seen everything. Never. You've heard this, I'm sure, Liam, Nick. Oh, they didn't have any money. What do you mean they didn't have any money? They had a Rolls Royce or Mercedes. They had a Lexus. They had no money. No, you couldn't get their money. That's your problem. They got money. You're the one that don't have any money. So in this situation, you'll find that out. So it makes it simple. Now, whether you want, if you have policyholders, we've got a program. It's called the mini seminar. They come to your office, 8 to 10 people at a time. You spend about 2 hours on the phone for the week and an hour presentation at your office with no expense, no mail cost, nothing. So for people that don't have money, that's not an objection. That it's a silly objection. They won't have that with us unless you don't have policyholders. You made that up. So if you got policyholders, we got a program for that. If you have an affinity group, if you have a church, if you have an accounting firm, we can network with affinity all throughout the entire night. And I don't care what athletes, Special Olympics, any of those things fit with us, with our process, any of them. So we're just going to talk about the basics. We're going to pretend, Nick, you have no prospects. You don't know anybody. You just moved in the area, and we can start driving you and put you in business in about 2 months. Total business where you got people, 70, 80, 90, 100 people coming. Our top guy last year moved from Alabama, moved to Florida, didn't know anybody, didn't have an office, 25-year veteran in the insurance business. He hadn't been in the commission business in about 22 of those years. $2.5 million income, scratch in 11 months. Now, that is what I'm talking about. And now people, so if you got a policyholder program, we got a non-policyholder program. So we got both of those. And we got a one-on-one program, a concierge services we talked about with Liam. We got a one-on-one program. So whatever your choice is, we can sell by the internet. We've got an internet program for marketing that we can do. So we've got everything covered, all the basics, like Nick said, all the information. So income is dictated on how many people you can sit down with. So if you've been sitting down with 5, now you can sit down with 10. Your income may be double. Maybe it's going to go up 40%. But I've never seen people's income jump like they've jumped here in a year and a half. Why are some of our best salespeople were final expense and mortgage protection agents? How is that for financial planning? Our worst situations when we get full financial planners because they overthink this whole process and they just take too long. They're like a sloth. It takes them forever to get down the tree. And they can't follow a process. Here's the person that succeeds. And I'll give this for you, Liam, because you're going to like this one. I'll let you take it. We're looking for fat people. Flexible, adaptable, and trainable people with a good work ethic will survive with an entrepreneurial background. Flexible, adaptable people with an entrepreneurial spirit and work ethic will succeed beyond their imagination. But if you're skinny and you're lazy and you won't have activity, you shouldn't come to school.
Well, I like how you spelled fat, F-A-P. I like that. And you know, Don, and maybe Scott will go into this piece here, but let's go back to where the people come, right? Yep. Now, I'm going to butcher this, so you guys help me out. I heard you had 3 different levels if you wanted to get to, depending on where you're at financially, right? Now, one of the things that I teach agents is like, Nick will tell you, we did a show, Scott, not too long ago, and they were all crying. They couldn't do seminar. They couldn't afford the $3,000-$4,000. I said, listen, I want you guys, and we had 25 people on there. I said, everybody get your cell phone out. And I want you to Google how many 55 and older communities are inside of your area. And we found over 2,000, didn't we, Nick? It was ridiculous. And one guy in Minnesota said, oh, well, I don't have anybody. He found 65, right? And I said, listen, all you do is you call them up, and don't call them up and say, hey, Scott, this is Liam. I'd like to do a seminar on estate planning. No. You say, hey, Scott, this is Liam. I work with seniors all day, every day. Could I come in and do a tour of your facility? It's just that little bit of difference that I give my agents to get them in there. And then when you're in there, you see Nick's name on the wall. He's doing a Medicare seminar. I didn't know you did seminars here. Wow. Well, here, let me give you my business card book. And then you go, right? There you go, right? I had to give a little plug in there for the Baber's Bucket. But anyway, that's right. But I'm telling you that there's all kinds of ways to skin a cat. But what I like about what you guys have, and that's why I'm coming to see you, is that it's a system, right? And if you do it right, and here's the thing, you guys all know this, and Nick's already learned it. You got to be coachable in this business, or you're not going to be in this business, right? And even though I've got the experience that I've got, and you guys have got, I kept telling Nick, why don't they have this on recording? I'd already done the class. I'd have paid twice as much to get started last year, right? But that's not how it works. And so you got to go through the system. So let's go back a little step, and maybe Scott takes care of this. How do we get the qualified people in front of us? And and where would the monetary part be? Because I think they can pay for some mailers and seminars. Yes,
They can.
We have a reimbursement program that we do. If you're doing the mailing program, we help you offset the mail cost by the number of enrollments that you do at the trust. So we do that with the people that we have. Don't have to do it, but we just do it. And it's a fee. It's not a commission. We don't have commissions. We don't pay commissions. We're not in the commission business. It's a fee for helping you offset your mail costs. So if you do the program correctly, you should get all or 3/4 of your cost back after the first seminar. You should be ahead after the second. If you do it correctly, right the way Scott built the program. If you do that, like a David Hadley, there's no problem. You'll find out it'll work exactly. But I can show you people will make a disaster out of it. And it's usually the one that's too educated in the business to sit back and see Dick and Jane see Spot run. They want to do some kind of, I don't know, angelical type of, I don't know.
It never fails. I always have an agent that says, well, I can't get out there. I don't understand the IUL. I don't understand the index annuity. I said, what does it matter? You don't even know what your client's problem is yet.
Right. And so anyway, the compensation part is based upon your skill level to sell insurance and fill the gaps. That's where the compensation is made. All the fee does is help offset the mail cost. And if you don't do the mail cost, you still get the fee. So again, it's not enough to make a living unless you do a lot of them, which we've got some people doing that. Unbelievable. But the main thing is selling, just like a normal. Your part is the back end, the front end to warm them up, okay, and roll them, and the back end. ITS does the middle part. We do the ITS staff of lawyers. You don't have to find a lawyer. You don't have to look for a lawyer. You don't have to vet a lawyer. You don't have to look for any of the support people, that's all done. You don't have one attorney. You got multiple attorneys. You don't have one attorney that's on vacation. We only got somebody working. We are in this thing totally. Can you imagine trying to run 15 leads to that attorney and have him work with your clients and get it done in the next 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, right? They could be dead by then. So we've got a whole inside operation. You never worry about it. You don't worry about dealing with attorneys. You don't pay fees to attorneys. You don't do any of that stuff. So you're purely going right to the bottom, what you do well. Sell insurance, warm the people up. Do those two things, we fix the middle.
And Scott, tell us how we let we get the first meeting done. And it's me. I always tell people the seminar is your first close, right? And then what's the next process? What happens next?
Okay, so what happens next after the seminar? Again, Don had said it. We average about 75% of all attendees want an appointment. So they come to the office of the client. The agent meets with the client. There's an intake interview, which we've perfected. The success rate in the intake interview, if you do it correctly, is about 72%. So if you do the intake interview, the first interview after the seminar, 72% of the people should enroll in the platform, get the revocable living trust with ITS. And as Don said, there's an advisor support fee that's paid. The better you are at that process, the more advisor support fees you get, which is going to enable you to take care of all your mail costs, or a really good portion of that. After that, funding is critical when we talk about estate planning. A lot of people don't know about funding. Funding is actually just getting the assets inside the trust. Traditionally, that's done by retitlement of assets, and statistically, that doesn't work because most people don't do that. They don't keep up with it. But with our proprietary process, we can actually fund someone's trust in about an hour. In an hour. Most people, it takes 4 to 12 weeks. So we'll be teaching that at our school. After that process is over, which again, Don said it, our staff takes care of the funding. The agent is responsible to get copies of their assets to our team. We take care of it all. So the agent spends no time on that. After that, they go to another department of our company, specific trust directives, where a professional asks the client, who gets your house? When do they get it? What percentage? Do you want to protect your kids against a loss of a lawsuit, divorce, or bankruptcy regarding your retirement account? That's the third process. Again, a professional does that for every client. Then they go to a full attorney review. As Don said, we have 6 attorneys. The attorney does a review with every one of our clients. They talk to the attorney. Our attorneys are awesome. When those 3 processes are done, they come back to the agent. By that time, the agent's level is way up here because now the agent has a full staff. It's not just a one-man band. People love our platform. The attorney edifies each client to talk to the advisor about retirement. We can do that. Most attorneys cannot do that. Our process enables the attorney to edify the agent, which is hugely important. Then they come back to the agent. By that time, the agent can see all the assets. When I implement someone's trust, I can see every checking account, savings account, money market account, every retirement account, the old 401k, all their life insurance, everything, because they have to fund their trust. That's a huge advantage. I've been in the business for 40 years. The first 30 years of my career, I made phone calls, bought leads, knocked on doors. I worked my butt off, and I made about $350,000 a year in a good year. A bad year, I made 280. This system, I quadrupled my income. And I didn't learn it. I didn't have a new annuity. I didn't learn a new sales technique. This gave me the opportunity to be in front of a lot of people with money consistently because of education. I say it again. Most people in our country have no clue about how estate planning works. If they need one, how it works. And we have the best program in the country. I vetted most, if not every digital platform out there. If you're using a different digital platform, call me. Let's do a comparison. I've never seen one that can even come close to the Integrated Trust Systems program.
Now, do you show the digital platform at the seminar? I mean, at the class.
At the class, we touch on it. Yes,
that's what I meant. Yeah,
yes.
But you touch on that, right?
Yes. Yes. And we have full training. Once they leave the class, we have full training. We'll train them how to use it. That's not a problem.
Okay, and that Nick loves the digital world. So the other thing I would ask then, so you do have now this is what I heard. So help me if I'm wrong. 2,000, 4,000, and 6,000 seminar programs. Yes, or
Don, you want to take that?
Yeah, we've got three levels with our database management company. It's not a direct mail company. It's a database management company. And you've been around, Liam, probably, and Nick's heard about this. You know, we used to get responses in the old days when you could put Washington, D.C. on the reply card. We used to get 22% response rates on MedSup. Now it's down to 1 and maybe 1.5. Final expenses 0.3. Annuities are 0.2 or 3. So what happens with this, we got 3 programs. You can do what we call deluxe one. It's 6,000 pieces of mail. It's $5,400, and you get about 110 people to show up, depending on your market. Then you got another one that's like at 4,000 pieces of mail that you can send out. I think that's like $4,100 and change. And you're going to get about 70, 75 people consistently off of that. So you got a $52 to $54 qualified lead if you really want to get down to the rest. Now, it's a lower one if you can close. So the more you can close, the less your lead cost is. That's just the way it is. But straight out retail cost. Then you got a $2,500 pro. That has no qualifications. We're mailing to Facebook. We're integrated to the Facebook, the internet market. We'll get 100, 140 people responding. You can throw away 60% of them. Keep the other 2. We've got 2 guys doing a phenomenal job. That's all they do is that program, and they're just knocking it off the ballpark. But everybody said, well, that person wasn't throw it away. You got 100 and some people. When's the last time you got 100 and some people you got to talk to? Ask her when. You had 10 appointments last week. You went crazy. The average agent in the United States runs 5 appointments a week. That is the national average for LIMRA. 5. I've been teaching for 50 some years. I get every class I've ever done. Everybody I talk. How many appointments do you average a week, Nick? Sometimes 6, 7. They're exaggerating anyway. Then I get 15. Oh, you did? Well, that's one guy out of 500. So this person, this solves the problem. Our problem is we got too many leads coming in. They don't even work the other 2/3, Nick. They just couldn't wait long enough in the seminar to see you. If they go back and follow those other 2/3, even a third of those thirds, Katie bar the door. But you know how it is. You mail a program and you get 5 lead cards back. You don't talk to the other 950 people that were qualified. You just want that card. So how
is the webinar different from doing a face-to-face?
Well, it's not that much different. The webinar itself, the control what Scott's put together for the seminar, that material is educational for every representative. And what we're doing in a one-on-one, we broke it down with more questions. We give you the questions to ask in a video. So the video asks the questions, you respond. So it's controlled for that. It's controlled. In the seminar, we don't answer any questions. We don't, Nick, listen again. We don't answer, Liam, one question. You can ask me any questions, and we don't answer any question, not one. And in the intake interview, we don't answer any questions at all. We ask questions. Experts ask questions, amateurs talk. We ask questions and control the conversation. Why? Because they don't even know the right questions to ask They have no background in estate planning. So we control that through that process. And again, what's neat about it, it works whether it's one-on-one or in a group. The difference is I got 100 people I'm doing this to, and here I got one-on-one Mary and Bob. I'm not going to vary very much. Now we put a video in from the attorney in each one of our presentations. Our attorney takes away any legal responsibilities on your back. So you don't talk about anything legally, nothing. You don't get in there. Said, well, hey, by the way, that's a great question. We'll address that for you. The attorney will take care of that during this process when they go in for we're out of it. We got hands off. We are not an attorney. We are not any trust officer. We're here to give information out, but we are not that person. You want that person? Enroll today. You can answer every question you want all day long, 24/7.
And we're not here to talk about that today, but we will talk about that when they come in. You show them what the enrollment is, all that stuff is tied together. Yep. Now, let me ask you this question here. So the digital and the webinar fit together?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now, digital, what do you mean by digital?
Well, I mean, you said you have a digital program and you have a face-to-face
Well,
program.
we've got a seminar program.
Right.
We got one seminar. Then we got a one-on-one program. We got a mini seminar in the office with your policyholders, and we can work off the internet. The internet's a little bit different presentation, okay, because it's the internet, but not much different.
Yeah.
Because you got to cover certain items no matter when you're talking to Scott or me, we got to cover the same items.
That would be like a webinar, kind of like, right?
More of a Zoom call where you set it up, and you got to have, again, we want you to follow this track because it's a little harder on the internet for most people because they're not, that person can turn their camera off. They can be eating pizza. They can do a lot of different things. It's hard to get their attention, but we've got some people making it work. Now with our new platform, our new partner coming on, we're going to be a lot more interactive videos and a couple of different things that we're going to be able to do to help that whole process out.
Well, and I think too, what I try to tell the agents, one of the things I like about what you guys are doing is you put it right where it's supposed to be, right? I tell people if you want to get the answers, you go to the horse's mouth. If you want to get a bunch of BS, you go to the other end. So we're going to come to the horse's mouth and we're going to listen to you guys, and you're going to give us 2 days of good training, and then you get to see it implemented. I don't understand why anybody that's watching this doesn't say, well, when's the next class? Next class. So what George is going to do, he will put up the classes that are coming, the 8 that are coming after the January, because that's going to be done after they see this one. But he'll put up the next 8 classes, how to get in there, how to do it. It'll all be included in this video. And so what we'll do, we're going to finish up. I'm going to let you guys have the last word. Nick, I'll start with you, and I want you to do your best encouraging because you've been here. You've done it. You've seen what David Hadley's doing. Dave's a friend of mine as well, and Dave can't wait till I get back because he knows we're gonna, our goal is to do $1 million in commission a month, and I did that back in the day, and I did that by the week. I said a month, that's easy peasy, but it's a little bit difficult for me because I do things different than I used to back in the day. I'm more of a trainer and all that kind of stuff, but I have a lot of agents, about 10,000 that'll be seeing this. We have 2 million, believe it or not, Scott, that Tom Hagner gave us to work with, and they'll be getting this video. Some of you know Tom. He just started in the business 30 some years ago. Really, really, really wettle around the edges. I'm trying to help him the best I can to get out there and go get them. But Nick, I'll start with you, and then we'll go back to Don, and then Scotty, I'll let you say something, and I'll close us out. So Nick, give us something exciting, and we'll finish up.
Yeah, so really the compensation comes down, like I said, being a professional, knowing your craft, getting better, all those things. If you're, keep it simple, stupid, and you'll have success. You get in front of people, you say the right things, you have all the support in the world. I mean, I kind of one of the things I like to brag about with the help that I provide agents is that I'm super available. I hear all the time. People are like, this guy recruited me and then he disappeared. I never heard from him again. And it always blows my mind. I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. He'd be making so much more money if he was available. And, I make myself available to agents. I'm usually within an hour, somebody will get a response from me. And what I like about the training program, aside from just the system, is that Don and Scott are very available to people, right? The whole staff is, right? And so if you want to go far, if you want to develop yourself, even if you need some polishing to get there, you have some of the best people in the industry to help you do that. And there's nobody else who knows the system like them. They're helping these students through it. They're doing these training classes every 6-8 weeks, and you got to get down there. I mean, it's the best investment I've made in the industry in a long time as far as training and development and systems. I mean, I'm a marketer and I know marketing psychology, not just the here's how you set the tech up, here's how you set an ad up type kind of marketer tech bro stuff that a lot of people are out there, but really the marketing psychology and the creative director work that makes something effective. That's the bottom line. You got to have that. And that has been refined to a T with this system. And I don't get excited about too many things. And when I seen this, I was like, okay, I had an option to do one in December or, do one at the drop of a dime, like, a week and a half later in October. And I was like, I'm getting down to this thing. Right. And I came down with a back injury. You guys know I could barely walk the whole time I was around that weekend. So I didn't make any excuses. I got in the car and drove down about 3 hours drive. And, if you come to this training, you will not be disappointed. It's the training alone is worth, probably 10 times what you pay to get the training. But, really you should use the system. You'll get a return on it. I don't see how you could do it and not, as long as you follow the steps, I don't see how you could do it and not get a return. And then, of course, there's people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end of this stuff, knowing how to do their profession correctly. I don't know what else you got to say about that.
I think that's perfect. And I think, one of the things that we talked about, Nick, when you got me excited about it was everybody knows, and especially the group that we work with, I don't recommend anything. And that's one of the reasons why I'm going. And I'm recommending it now because you went and you're on our team. And I said, but I'm still going to go sit. I didn't have to. I could have said, I trust Nick wholeheartedly, right? He would trust me to go. And he said, well, I don't need to go. You went. But that's not how we work on our team. We all go get it. I tried to go with Nick, but I had to watch the Twins. He made me stay home and watch the Twins. But so Don, I'm going to let you say a little something, and then we'll go back to Scotty and we'll finish it up. So Don, give us a little something to get because people are going to be seeing this. George is going to be putting all the different times they can come out. But I would think you would say what I would say, get in there as quick as you can. Yes?
Yeah, I would say the only reason you delay anything, procrastination is common to the prospect. Procrastination is common to an advisor. The deal is if you're making all the money you want to make, you got all the prospects you want to get, you're not working any more than you have to work, and you really don't want to do anything, don't come. There's not a reason to do it. But if you're an entrepreneur mindset, you want to run a business, you want to increase your sales, you want to reduce your cost, you want to increase your comfort level by it, you want to raise the status to your clients and do that, then you ought to come to the school. Otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing and don't worry about it. But it's not driven by an insurance product. If you can't sell or don't have the products, talk to Liam, because I'm telling you, we have nothing to do with that. We all understand it. We all had contracts. We all got contracts. There's nothing about that. That's your baby. So if you can't sell, I wouldn't. We'll have a special selling course.
And Don, I've always got to have a plug. That's where the closer's edge comes in. Well, anyway.
Well, no, I'm saying if you can't do it, you better go see Liam because we're not doing that. We can, but we don't do that.
That humbles me because if you're not humble, God will humiliate you. I'm just letting you know. And Nick, you'll find that out the older you get. But and you guys don't forget, I got a package coming to you guys, and you're getting the yes and shut up mugs, Don, because those are the 3 most powerful words in closing. And I'll give you. George just wanted me to do another mug. The 4 words that beat every objection. What are they, Nick? Well, he probably forgot. What are they, Nick?
Let's talk about it.
Anytime somebody says it's just too expensive, I say, well, let's just talk about it. Well, what if they say I don't want to talk about it? Well, let's talk about it. There's no way you can beat those 4 words, Donnie. No way. So Scotty, finish this up. Let's get this thing out on the road and get people to your school.
Okay, real good. So this has been a fun call. I appreciate all you guys. I think it's kind of cool. It's January, so we're entering a new year. So I would just ask the question, everybody listening, if you made it the same amount of money in 2026 you made in 2025, would you be happy? If the answer is yes, as Dan said, I probably wouldn't come to our school. But if you're sitting there thinking, man, I wish I could find something where I could double my income. I'd love to go from 150,000 to 300,000 or 80,000 to 160 or 500,000 to $1 million. Then you might want to consider coming to our school because that's what happened to me. And the reason it happened is we have a process to attract a lot of people that have assets that are being totally uneducated who have interest in a subject called estate planning. This system will set you apart. As I said, nobody from my experience, 10 years with ITS, can even compete with our platform. I don't care what other digital platform you have. Call me. We'll do a comparison. Not a problem. And if somebody has a traditional trust book, that's even more of a reason to call us, because that might really be a situation where you don't know what you have. So that alone, people will start seeking you out too. Once you have done this 4, 5, 6 months and the word gets out what you're doing, people will seek you out. They will actually call you. And I would ask this question: how many on the call right now are consistently getting 30 to 40 introductions every single month? If you're not doing that, I can teach you how to do that if you're implementing 10 trusts a month. If you use our system, you implement 10 trusts a month, I can show you how to get 30 to 40 introductions every single month, which is going to make you money, and it's going to lower your mail cost because introductions are free. So that's the reason I would come to our school.
Well, I tell a story. I used to sell spa memberships before I came into this world. And I remember the guy that got me into this world, he said, how much you make in a week? Back in 1991, $750 a week was a lot of money. Hell, I made that in the Army in a month, right? My dad made $120 a month in the Army, right? And so $750 a week was a lot of money for me back then. And he said, you could double that if you got into the financial world. And I said, well, that'd be great. I said, I was one of the, I don't do anything half. You guys probably already know that. And so I was doing 5 to 7 new spa members every day. So, and we did Monday, Wednesday, Friday back then. Women had one day, men had another. Now they got so many genders, they don't even know what day anybody gets. So it's so screwed up, right? But anyway, the sensible people still have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. But so what they said, well, you're doing that good on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Liam. We're going to give you Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 2 different gyms. See if you can still do it. Well, I still did it. And so they brought me in. They said, how did you do that? And I said, well, I don't sell anybody. I service people. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, I say, listen here, Don, you're in here. You want to get in shape. How much you want to lose? And Donnie says, I want to lose 30 pounds. I said, well, Don, take this dumbbell and it's 30 pounds. And we're going to walk around the gym. I'm going to show you all the equipment to get that off. And when we get back to the office, Don's already switched his hand. Hell, he had an old lady hold it while he was watching the pool swimmers, right? And then we get back to the seat. He sits down. I said, Don, how's that feel getting that 30 pounds off? He said, my God. I said, well, can you still sign the app? Let's get you in here and get you started. And so service is where it's at. And that's why I like what you guys are. And that's a true story. I learned at an early age from Zig Ziglar, the more you do for other people, the more they'll do for you. Yes?
100%.
No question.
And we are looking really, really, this is the honeymoon stage. I got to go to work and come and see you guys and do your stuff. And Nick's like, you got to have a mute button because Liam just talks and talks. So hopefully you guys will have like a bag or something put over my head. But I will do my best, and you'll be surprised. I'll sit in the back. Nick will tell you, I am coachable, but it's for my people. Right? I gotta be able to articulate what you're doing. Yes. And I appreciate you guys taking time. I know it's Friday. I know you're getting ready to go to Vegas and you're going to have some fun with the group of guys that did really good with you this year. And next year, I hope to be one of your keynote speakers. I told David, I hope to be one of the guys, right?
I like it.
But you got to prove yourself. You got to get in the water. Yes. I told somebody, if I'd have known that I could stand up when my dad threw me in the pool, I wouldn't have as much trauma about swimming today. But I learned how to swim, right? You got to get in the pool. And so you guys are going to get them in there. You're going to walk them through it, but you're going to tell them, hey, guys, we have a platform. You can stand up. It's not so hard. Let's just listen, right?
Yep. You're right.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching this hour of Liam. And again, we're going to put this out everywhere. Nick, thank you for your time. And guys, we will see you. I'll see you here in a little bit. But this is going to be going ongoing, and we'll have all the information you need and what you need to do here in the notes. Nick, George will take care of all that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Hour with Liam.